I believed her because the lie was packaged in something that sounded harmless. Girls' night. That phrase is supposed to mean loud music, crowded bathrooms, overpriced cocktails, and my girlfriend coming home laughing with her makeup slightly smudged and her heels in her hand. It is supposed to mean safe chaos. For almost a year, it meant she was sleeping beside another man while I stayed up pretending I was fine. If you enjoy real stories like this, hit subscribe. Her name was Mia. That is what Lauren called her every time she needed an excuse that could not be questioned. Mia was the constant. Mia was the shield. Mia was the reason for the late train, the sudden sleepover, the dead phone, the smudged lipstick, the perfume I did not recognize, the tiny bruises that looked like someone grabbed her waist too hard while dancing. Mia was also someone I had never met. Lauren and I had been together a little over 3 years when everything cracked. We met when I was starting my career and she was finishing grad school. She had this easy confidence, like she belonged anywhere she walked into. I loved that about her. I was more reserved, more practical. I planned, I saved. I thought in steps and structures. She thought in moments. When we moved in together, we built routines that felt like proof we were real. Grocery runs on Sundays, laundry on Wednesdays, movie nights where we argued about what to watch, then ended up watching something dumb with our feet tangled on the couch. She would steal my hoodies and pretend she forgot they were mine. I would pretend I believed her. We were not a dramatic couple. We had normal problems. Work stress, bills, the occasional argument about chores, nothing that screamed disaster. That is why the first time she stayed out late, I did not panic. She texted me in the afternoon saying she was meeting Mia after work. "Just drinks," she said. I said, "Okay." She came home around 1 in the morning, a little loud, a little wobbly, smelling like sweet alcohol and city air. She kissed my cheek and told me she missed me. She collapsed into bed and fell asleep in minutes. The next morning she laughed about it, said Mia had convinced her to try some new cocktail and she had not eaten enough. She promised it was a one-time thing. It was not. Girls' night became a weekly event, then twice a week. Mia went from a person she had reconnected with to the person she could not live without. The strange part was how quickly this friendship became non-negotiable. Lauren was always social, but she had never been the type to vanish on a schedule. With Mia, she did. She would get ready with more intention than she used to. Hair done, makeup sharper, perfume heavier, a dress that made her look like she was going somewhere important, not just to a bar with a friend. Then the sleepovers started. It was framed as safety. Mia lived across town, she said, and after a certain hour, the trains were sketchy. Uber prices spiked. Sometimes they ended up at Mia's place because it was closer than ours, and she was too tired to cross the whole city. The first time she texted me after midnight saying she was going to crash at Mia's, I stared at my phone and felt something tighten in my chest. I replied that I hoped she got home safe. She sent a heart emoji and went quiet. She came home the next morning around 10, acting like it was normal. I asked why she had not called. She said the music was loud and her phone was dying. It happened again 2 weeks later. Then again. Then it turned into a pattern. I asked if I could meet Mia. Lauren laughed and said I would hate her. She said Mia was chaotic and blunt and she did not do boyfriends. She said she was private. She said she was not ready. Private was the first red flag I ignored. Other signs piled up quietly. Lauren stopped leaving her phone on the counter when she showered. She stopped initiating intimacy. She started making me feel guilty for noticing anything. If I asked where she was going, she said I was controlling. If I asked when she would be home, she said I was treating her like a child. If I said I missed her, she said I was suffocating. She used the word trust like a demand instead of something earned. I tried to be supportive. I planned date nights. I cooked. I listened. I told myself this was a phase, that every couple has seasons, but my instincts kept tapping me on the shoulder at night. One night, after she texted that she was staying at Mia's, I opened the map app we used for safety. We had shared locations months earlier. I did not check it often. That is why it hit me so hard. Her dot was not across town. Her dot was at a hotel downtown. A real hotel, the kind with valet parking and a lobby that smells expensive. I stared at that dot until my eyes hurt, then told myself it had to be a glitch. GPS can be wrong. Buildings can confuse signals. I needed to be rational. She came home late the next morning with hair too neat for someone who slept on a couch and a story that sounded rehearsed. I nodded and tried to believe it. But I started noticing hotels. Not every time, but enough. A few weeks later, she stopped sharing her location. She framed it as independence. She said she did not want to be tracked. She said she read something about codependency. She said it was not personal. Then she changed her phone passcode. I asked about it once. She told me privacy mattered and I should trust her. She said my questions were proof I had insecurity issues. The way she said it made me feel small, like wanting basic reassurance was some kind of flaw. I hated that feeling. I hated that I was slowly becoming the guy who stayed quiet to keep the peace. So I tried one last simple move. I offered to pick her up after girls' night. Not to control her. Just to remove the excuse of late trains and expensive rides. She smiled and said it was sweet, but unnecessary. She said Mia lived near the bar, so they would probably end up at Mia's anyway. She said she did not want to commit to a pickup time because it would make her anxious. She left around 8, dressed like she was going to a party. At 11:47, she texted that they were switching locations. Her phone was at 10%. She said she loved me. At 1:03, she texted that she was staying at Mia's. At 1:05, my credit card app pinged. A pending charge for $198 from a boutique hotel bar downtown. My card was saved in Lauren's digital wallet for groceries and errands. She had used it before for small things. This was not small. I called her, voicemail. I texted asking if she was okay. Nothing. Then another charge hit. Then another. All from the same hotel. I did not sleep. She came home the next morning carrying a pastry bag like it was an apology. Same dress. Refreshed makeup. Not the look of someone who crashed somewhere unplanned. I asked how her night was. She said fun, then noticed my face. I told her my card had been used at a hotel bar. I saw the calculation happen behind her eyes. She said Mia wanted to go somewhere nicer. Mia lost her card. Lauren would pay me back. She finished by saying she did not realize I would get a notification. She was not sorry she did it. She was sorry I saw it. That night, while she slept, I opened her purse. Not her phone. I did not have the code, just the purse. I found a room key card, black and sleek with the hotel logo stamped in silver. I put it back exactly where it was and went back to bed feeling like my chest was filled with wet cement. The next day at work, I could not focus. My brain kept replaying the keycard, the charges, the stories. I needed the truth. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I needed my reality back. After the keycard, I started paying attention to details I used to ignore. Her mornings after a sleepover were too polished. She would come in carrying coffee like a peace offering, but her breath never smelled like she had spent the night talking. It smelled like toothpaste and mint and the sterile air of a hotel hallway. She would hug me from behind while I stood at the sink, then pull away quickly, like affection was a box she checked before moving on. She also started bringing home little things that did not match her stories. A tiny bottle of expensive lotion, she said, came from a restroom attendant at a club. A hair tie that was not hers. A parking stub folded into her wallet, dated one of the nights she claimed she took the train. I stopped asking about every item because I did not want to hear more improvisation. I wanted one clean truth. So I tried a different approach. I tried to bring the mystery into the light. The next Thursday, when she said she was meeting Mia, I told her I was already near that part of town for a work thing. I asked if I could swing by and say hi, just for a minute, no pressure. I kept my tone casual. I even smiled. Lauren reacted too fast. She said no immediately, then backtracked and said it was not a good night because Mia was emotional. She said Mia did not like surprises. She said the bar was loud and crowded and I would hate it. She said it would be awkward. Awkward was my answer. If Mia was real, awkward was manageable. If Mia was not real, awkward was dangerous. Lauren left anyway, and I did not follow her. I did not tail her like some movie character. But I drove to the area she usually went, parked a block away, and walked past the bars she had mentioned before. I told myself I was just checking if her story matched her world. The second bar I passed had a line at the door and a bouncer with a clipboard. I walked by like I belonged there, then doubled back and stared through the window. I saw Lauren. She was at a high table near the back, laughing. Her body leaned forward in a way I had not seen in months, like she was genuinely interested. Across from her sat a man in a fitted jacket, his hand resting casually on her knee under the table. I did not see Mia. I did not see any group of women. I saw my girlfriend on a date. My first instinct was to storm in. My second instinct was to freeze. The sight hit me like a physical shove. My brain tried to protect me by delaying reality. Maybe it was a coworker. Maybe it was a client. Maybe it was nothing. Then Lauren reached up and touched his face with the kind of familiarity you do not give to strangers. That was the moment my denial died. I stepped back before anyone noticed me. I walked to my car with my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. I sat behind the wheel and stared straight ahead, hands locked on the steering wheel like I needed it to keep from shaking apart. I drove home on autopilot. She came home at 12:50, cheerful and relaxed. She kissed my cheek and told me she was tired. She told me Mia was doing better. She told me she loved me. I looked at her and realized how easy it was for her to switch masks. That night, while she slept, I wrote down what I saw in my notes app. Not because I needed to remember, but because I wanted a record that could not be rewritten later. Hair, jacket, bar name, the way his hand sat on her knee, the way her face looked when she smiled at him. The next day, I called in sick for the first time in years. I sat at the kitchen table and tried to decide what kind of man I wanted to be in the next chapter of my life. I could confront her with what I saw and accept whatever lie she offered. Or I could wait for something that could not be explained away. The universe delivered it sooner than I expected. 2 nights later, around midnight, my phone rang. It was Lauren's number. I answered, relieved for a second, thinking maybe she needed help. Instead, I heard muffled music, then a man's voice in the background, close and familiar, saying her name like he had said it 1,000 times. Lauren laughed softly. Then the call went dead. It felt like an accidental pocket call. It felt like a door opening for half a second and showing me what was inside. She texted right after, saying, "Sorry, her phone was acting weird. She would call later." I stared at that message and felt my last bit of patience drain out of me. I did not want another performance. I wanted the truth, and I wanted it in a way she could not twist into me being paranoid. That is why I opened the shared iPad. Lauren used a shared iPad at home for streaming. It was connected to her email for app downloads. She rarely checked email there, but it stayed logged in. On the next girls' night, after she left, I sat at the kitchen table and opened it. I searched for receipts, hotel, reservation, confirmation. The results came back immediately. Multiple hotel confirmations, some canceled, some completed, all in her name, all on nights she said she was staying at Mia's. Then I saw a thread addressed differently, a greeting line with a name that was not Mia. Miles. I clicked it. It was a gym membership welcome email. The account was under Miles Carter, but Lauren's email was listed as the contact. There were calendar invites for evening sessions, the same nights as girls' night. My throat went dry. I searched Miles again. Rideshare receipts. Pick up at our apartment. Drop off at a condo building downtown. Rider name Miles. Payment Lauren. Dinner reservations under Miles Carter. Confirmations sent to Lauren. A parking receipt for the same boutique hotel. Mia was not the friend. Mia was a mask. Mia was just close enough to Miles that she could say it quickly and never trip over the lie. I sat there staring at the screen until the words stopped feeling real. Then I heard keys in the lock. Lauren came home earlier than usual, like she had decided the night was over and she was ready to return to normal life. She walked into the kitchen and stopped when she saw me. I told her we needed to talk. She asked why I was up. I asked one simple question. Who is Mia? Lauren blinked, then gave me that practiced casual expression. She said Mia was her friend. I asked again. Who is Mia? She sighed and said I was interrogating her. I told her I knew about the hotels. Her eyes narrowed. She asked what I meant. I told her my card had been used at a hotel bar and I found a key card in her purse. She tried to shrug it off. Rooftop bar, elevator access. She forgot it was in there. None of it meant anything. I asked her to say Mia's last name. She stared at me. I waited. She said she did not know. That silence was its own confession. I told her I found emails. She asked what emails. I told her I saw reservations under Miles Carter. Her face went white. I said the name again, slow, Miles Carter. Lauren looked toward the hallway like she wanted to run. I asked the question that mattered. Is Mia a man? She tried to laugh. It came out thin. She said that was crazy. I did not react. I just waited. Lauren started crying. The panicked kind, not the remorseful kind. She said it was not what I thought. I told her it was exactly what it looked like. I asked how long. She said around 8 months. 8 months of calling a man her friend. 8 months of turning me into the jealous boyfriend stereotype so she could keep doing it. I asked who he was. She said his name was Miles. She met him at a work networking event. Real estate development, charming, smooth. He made her feel wanted. She said it started with drinks and stayed harmless until it did not. I asked why she called him Mia. She wiped her face and said she did not want me to suspect. She said if she told me she was hanging out with a guy, I would have a problem. I told her I would have had a problem because it would have been the truth. I asked if he was single. She hesitated. Then she said not exactly. I asked what that meant. She said he had someone, but it was complicated. Complicated is what people say when they want you to stop digging. I felt sick. So she was not just cheating on me. She was helping him cheat on someone else too. Lauren kept trying to stack excuses on top of the truth. Stress, distance, feeling stuck, needing an escape. I listened until I could not anymore. Then I told her we were done. Her eyes widened like she genuinely did not believe I would do it. She said we could fix it. I said there was nothing to fix. She said she would cut him off. I said she already proved she could not be trusted. She asked if we could take a break instead of ending it. I told her we were not pausing. We were done. She asked if we could still be friends. I told her friends do not build fake people and then sleep in hotels under those names. I told her to pack a bag and leave. She asked where she would go. I told her she had options. Her parents, a friend, or Mia's. She flinched at the name like it burned. She said she could not go to his place. I did not care. She packed in silence except for occasional sobs. She left with a suitcase and a look that seemed to mix anger and disbelief, like I was the one ruining her life. When the door closed, I sat on the couch and let the quiet hit me. The next day, she tried to come back like nothing had changed, as if she could walk into the apartment and still belong there. I did not let her. I called the landlord and started the process of removing her from the lease. I changed the locks. I boxed up her remaining things. I blocked her number. She tried anyway. Emails from new addresses. Calls from unknown numbers. Messages through mutual friends. I did not engage. A mutual friend reached out and told me Lauren was a mess, that she had not meant to hurt me, that she was spiraling, that she missed me. I told the friend I hoped she got help, but I was not her safety net. Another friend told me she had been telling people a softer version of the story, that we were drifting anyway, that it was a mistake, that I overreacted. That was when I realized she still wanted to control the narrative. Even after getting caught, she needed to be the victim. I was not going to be the villain in her redemption story. In the weeks that followed, I noticed something else. My body had been living in constant tension for months. I had normalized waiting, guessing, swallowing questions, and calling it love. Without her chaos in the apartment, the air felt different. Quieter, yes, but also cleaner. I threw away the hotel keycard when I found it again while packing her things. It was the smallest object, and it still made my stomach turn. I took down the framed photo of us on our first trip together and put it in a box I did not open again. Not out of hatred, out of respect for my own healing. She was not the person in that photo anymore, and maybe she never was. There is a moment after a breakup like that where you expect relief, and instead, you get emptiness. The apartment feels too quiet. The habits you built together still echo. I would reach for my phone at night out of reflex, then remember there was no one to text. But the longer she was gone, the more my body unclenched. I started sleeping through the night again. I started eating without that knot in my stomach. I stopped checking the clock. I stopped wondering if I was crazy. The truth did not make me happy, but it made me steady. It gave me my reality back. Lauren called him Mia because she thought it would keep her world tidy. A cute cover, a harmless label. All it did was show me how easily she could lie when she thought the packaging was safe. I did not get closure from her. I got it from my own choices. I kept my dignity. I kept my home. I kept my future. And I stopped being the man who waited up for someone who was never coming home. If this story hit close to home, subscribe and drop a like.